Hey folks, welcome back to another episode. This week we're going to show you how to tie an egg fly. Alright, so to tie an egg fly, pretty simple, the easiest fly that you can learn to tie. It's the first one I learned to tie, and I'm still bad at tying other flies, kind of good at tying the egg fly. So we're going to jump right into it here. First things first, why are we tying the egg fly? The egg fly is essential in any fly fisherman's bag. The egg is one of the staples of a diet of a trout and other fish species that live with salmon and other salmonids because they're so protein rich. They smell good, they taste good, the fish love them. So let's get to tying. Alright, so to tie an egg fly you're going to need a couple materials and gear. The gear is kind of the behind the scenes stuff you need for all fly tying, which is a vise. Mine's already down on the table below. I'll put a picture of one up on the screen. I have a cheap one. You can get one for pretty cheap, or you can get a higher end one. But this video is more about the egg itself. So for the egg itself, you're going to need some thread and the thread holder. I have orange thread. I use a thread that is close to the color of the egg. So like chartreuse, pink, orange. I'll use orange thread. I don't need to change thread color. I'm not that superstitious. And then you'll need some pairs of scissors. I have these ones if you saw the last video where you can see me tying. Poverty scissors, and I also have my kitchen scissors here. To finish up the fly, you don't necessarily need this, but I definitely learned how to use it. So you don't really rely on the zap finish or like glue to glue the fly together. It's way easier. This thing just ties a knot at the end. It's called a whip finish tool. It's super cool when you learn how to use it. Maybe we'll do another video down the line on that. Then finally I do have a little bit of zap finish. It's just super glue for the fly at the end. And then for fly materials, I mentioned thread, but that's for any fly. You need hooks. For this fly I'm using a size 14 midge fly, like a wet nymph. So it's kind of like curved. Here's an example of an egg here where it's kind of curved. And I like that because this egg kind of covers this end. Egg flies themselves are kind of flat, so that it's easier to tie, but I just, it's preference. But you can go anywhere from probably size like 20, which I wouldn't start with, it's too small, to bigger flies. You could tie a big egg sac fly in size 2, 4, whatever. And then my personal addition on this fly would be this bead head. I like adding weight to it instead of split shots. And then finally, the most important part, the body of the egg, is the yarn. I took it out of the bag here so you can kind of see what it's all about. There's tons of different types, tons of different colors. If you go in a store, it's overwhelming. But that's all you need. So instead of me blabber, let's get the camera on the fly tying gear and let's frickin' tie one. For beginners, first time, I'm going to one take this. We're going to see what it looks like. It's probably going to look like the one I have right here. But it could be better, it could be worse. I don't know. I'm not going to be here like, you think I'm going to be here tying shit all night? Come on. So when you got your materials ready and set to go in the vise here, first you take your thread and you create this base layer for it. Not the hardest thing in the world. You kind of wrap it over itself there. You can see, and then I just go down the line, wrapping over itself. Pretty simple. This isn't like a nymph or anything, so it doesn't really matter. It's just getting a base for the yarn. I like to go pretty low down there. Superstitious, make it more orange. Fish like the orange. Eggs are orange, red, But I make a pretty sturdy base for something the yarn to sit on. Once you feel like you got enough on there where it's going to really have a good base for you, you take your little scissors. I got these because I don't know where my other ones are. It doesn't have to be exact. Like, you're new to the game. I'm new to the game. Well, the tying game. And then you're ready to throw on the yarn here. So with the yarn, you can kind of roll it in your hands, but it should look like this right over the fly. Kind of like flat, like a kind of noodle over in it. And then you got to make sure you go over it, so you can kind of pull it tight, see where you want to go over, and just go over it. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it pulls like that. Once you do that, you do a little helicopter underneath the heli. See how it keeps it kind of sturdy in there? That's why I like doing the heli. I do a bunch of helis. Once you're done with the helicopter, you just give it a few more wraps there, and you're pretty much done. With the whip finish tool, or you can look up how to do like a knot. You get in here, and you whip it 3 times. Sometimes the whip finish... Oh, it broke! Okay, so when it breaks, what I do is kind of wrap back in there. Wrap over itself like you did at the beginning. And see, now it's wrapped over itself again. And I'll snip this end off. See, this is what happens. I'm not a professional, but I'm a hobbyist. And then you do the whip again over it, kind of knot over it, make it, see, and then it's good as new. And we snip off this end down the bottom. Try and get as close to it as possible. Boom. I like to put the zap finish on now, so it kind of gets in that knot and not in the yarn, because it can make the yarn hard. And it also secures this bead head in here, so you kind of open this up, and you only need like a little bit, because it'll sink down in. That was probably too much, but it'll sink down in. And then you take out the big scissors, or smaller fly tying ones would be handy, and you kind of cut in this, like, pull this up, see how there's some integrity there, and you just cut kind of like the top of a circle, so it's kind of rounded, and it just pops open like that, and you're like, oh, that kind of looks okay. But this is where it comes in. You roll it. You can roll it in your hand, but you can roll it in the tie. Not half bad, huh? Thank you for watching. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I've never done a tutorial like that before. If you liked it, smash the like button, smash it, smash it, smash it. Comment what type of flies you'd like to see me tie. I am new to fly tying as well, so like you can learn along the way. I have just, you know, like anyone watching this video, like you're here, and like I'm just like here, like I'm bringing you here. I'm bringing you here. But you know what I'm saying? So let's do that. Let's do that. Maybe a woolly bugger, maybe a prince nymph. No, that's too hard for me. It's too much sleight of hand. Maybe a woolly bugger, maybe a mouse fly or something. Something like bulky, something that doesn't matter that much, like this egg here. Eggs don't have to be perfectly round, but that'll be next time, only if you like this one. If not, back to the adventures. See you on the weekend with the GoPro.